As Sudan's rival generals continue their deadly tussle for dominance, more and more people are losing their lives almost daily. While over 417 people have been killed as of now, thousands have fled the nation. In the latest, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned that the violence in Sudan risks a catastrophic conflagration that could engulf the whole region and beyond.
Since the start of fighting on 15 April, hundreds of people have been killed and thousands injured. The violence must stop. It risks a catastrophic conflagration within Sudan that could engulf the whole region and beyond.
Meanwhile, other countries have intensified their efforts for evacuating their citizens from Sudan. Starting with India, there are around 3,000 Indian nationals stranded in the country as of now. Some of them have been evacuated already by the French and Saudi Arabian teams. New Delhi has sent 2 military planes which are on standby in Jeddah, and a naval ship, Sumedha, is at Port Sudan as part of its evacuation efforts titled Operation Kaveri. The Indian Foreign Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar says about 500 Indians have reached the port and more are on their way. The ships and aircraft stationed there will return with these people soon. A German Air Force plane with 101 people was evacuated from Sudan earlier and has landed in Berlin. The German military says the plane flew out with 311 people from an airfield in Khartoum. A breakdown of how many of those evacuated were German citizens or nationals from other countries is still awaited. A Dutch Air Force C-130 Hercules flew out of Sudan to Jordan, carrying evacuees of various nationalities as the country pledged more evacuations in coming days. China says it has started evacuation of some of its nationals from the African nation. Meanwhile, the French citizens who were evacuated by a military plane from Khartoum were welcomed in Djibouti Air Base. It also had other nationals, including 5 Indians on board. An Italian Air Force plane also evacuated over 100 people in Djibouti. The Italian foreign minister said that some other European Union citizens, including Swiss citizens and personnel from the Vatican's embassy, were also evacuated on Sunday. Earlier, the US and UK announced that they had flown diplomats out of Sudan. The US Special Forces evacuated all US government personnel and their dependents from their embassy in Khartoum. According to reports, the operation evacuated fewer than 100 people. For the latest, we are joined by Hajooj Kuka, who is a Sudanese activist and filmmaker. Welcome to the broadcast, Hajooj.
Thank you.
Hajooj, I've already read a whole report of how other countries are evacuating and bringing their nationals out. I want to ask you, what about the people in Sudan who have nowhere else to go? What is the crisis looking like over there? What are their available sources? What are their supplies? How are they living? If you can give us a more realistic report on ground.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm glad these people are being able to fly and get out of Sudan. But what's happening is there's this scare right this minute, because with the foreigners leaving, it feels like this is giving a green light to the fighting fractions to even fight more. There was a ceasefire that happened. It didn't mean that there was a complete ceasefire, but there was a ceasefire to allow for these planes to come in, to allow for people to go to Port Sudan, to allow for people to be taken out of the country. And the ceasefire ends tomorrow. So a lot of people are trying to get out because they're thinking tomorrow it's going to become even worse. And the price for a bus ride, which is what normally a Sudanese citizen would have to take to go to Egypt, used to be like $50, and now today it reached $500. So you have to be upper middle class to be able to pay that for each person of your family. And people are just trying to go out because they think that now that the foreigners left, it's going to go crazy. One thing to remember, Sudan has always been into a war, and this is a place where you always hear about military coups and wars and stuff, but never in Khartoum. The capital, Khartoum, where because of all these wars, people have been moving from the marginalized areas into Khartoum. The population is about they say anything between 6 million and 8 million. The extended outskirts of Khartoum has between 8 million and 12 million people who come in and live on the outskirts because it has always been safe. So now with having war, we're finally seeing a devastation in the city where a lot of people live. We're finally seeing one bomb drops and a lot of people dying. In my own neighborhood, just 2 days ago, a bomb just dropped randomly and 6 people died. And we're seeing the pictures and it's devastating to see body parts and everything. So people are scared. People are starting to get the side effects of what happens in the war. Water is starting to be cut. Electricity is being cut. Today, internet fell because the towers got affected, and it's harder for the engineers to go around and fix them. Just my family was really devastated trying to find food, not because they didn't have money, just because they didn't have cash. The banking system is down. Using your there's something called Bankek where you can send money through the bank system and through your apps, and that's not working anymore. So they needed to get cash. To get cash became problematic, and it took them a long time to just be able to get cash so they can buy food. Depending where you are, you can get food or not, and depending where you are, you can get fresh vegetables or not. So people are starting to get also malnutrition depending where you are. And so there's a mass movement out of the city of Khartoum. And up to today, the fighting was kind of stable throughout the country. And sadly, today we heard about fighting erupting in Darfur, in Jenaina, the western part. So now there's different fighting happening, different fractions have fighting there. So people are getting scared. Like, is it only Khartoum, or is it also now going to spread to other areas? So devastation, right. War, and no end to all this, because to try to understand why is there a war, it's just this, it's just the complexity of these two generals, like you guys said, that to get the ego out of it and to try to get them, you don't have to win, let's just reach a peace agreement and let's move forward, is going to be hard.
Hajooj, I did not even wish to interrupt you, because everything that you're sharing, it sounds absolutely devastating, and here's hoping that the situation gets back to normal at the earliest. Thank you so much for all those updates, and thank you for joining in.
Thanks for having me.